So, welcome to our class, Games for Health and Introduction. It's been a pleasure hearing these classes and chatting with you. In fact, I have learned a lot from you. Today, we are almost done. We're left with next week's class just to show us your ideas on what you think. And then I just wanted to point out that today's topic is SwaziYolo serious game. It's an example of applying serious games in public health. So next week, 25th, will be your turn to make presentations about your great ideas. And for that, I always look forward to it because previous students have really wowed me, and some students have felt that they should go ahead and try to find funding to develop their ideas. So I'm looking forward to that. So today we're going to do, today's objective is one simple objective. It's just to look at an application of a serious game in public health, in this case HIV. So you may ask yourself the question, why do we have to look at this in real time, or just look at details of the game? You can just tell us about it. Well, my idea is that you've heard a lot from many people about serious game. I think this is an opportunity for you to actually see the game. So it's my first time to present about the game, to talk about the game in great detail. Usually I've just showed a video clip of the game for less than 60 seconds, and that was it. But today I'm actually going to show you details of the game, probably just be the player in the game and follow the discussion, the narrative of the game, and then watch as the player makes decision and watch what happens. So it will be more like you are playing the game. But since I want us to move in the same direction, we'll have the screen play the game for us, and then we'll discuss as we continue. I would like to remind you on what is SwaziYolo before we continue to play the game. And this is they call it table of contents. It sort of shows what's inside SwaziYolo. I put this picture. So I want to remind you of why we did this in the first place. It was not just us riding in the wave of serious games. Earlier on, we conducted this study among Facebook users in Swaziland. It was a mixed method study made of a qualitative part and a quantitative part. So we were able to publish the quantitative part, but the qualitative part revealed something very important to us. The users were saying, we are experiencing information fatigue. They told us that they were tired of hearing about HIV, because everywhere they went, there was something about HIV. If they open the radio, within a short time, you'll hear someone saying, use a condom and be safe, or something like that. So they were saying, look, we are tired of this. We are living in the digital age. We are used to Facebook. You can see a comment, but more than just that, you can comment on the comment. You can like it, you can share it, you can say something against it. So we want something that will engage us. So this is why we really moved towards developing a serious game. And I hope this part I will hide from the monitor. I'll hide from the recording. But before we started, we really took some time to segment our population. So the game is built of characters based on this profile of what we saw both on our research and what is happening in Swaziland. So we didn't just think out loud on what to do. So for gender, we've got 2 females and 2 males. So the first female is a young lady who's HIV negative. He lives in Swaziland, in a capital city, and she is kind of educated. She has a tertiary education, and she's outgoing. She likes trendy things, such as tech, and very active on social media. And then the user goal for this character is to expand on her HIV knowledge, giving her platforms where her values can be reinforced. Because she's already HIV negative and she's outgoing, so we want to enforce the values that she already has about HIV to keep her continuing on protection. We have another male, younger male, 18 years old, lives in another location of Swaziland, but still in Swaziland. Her education, he just completed high school. He's not sure where to go next, but he likes to play music. So key attribute is he's very strong-minded. He has Christian values. More people in Swaziland are Christian. Very active on social media as well, and enjoys the dating scene. The user goal for a character like him is educate him about how to practice safe sex, and where to get tested, and actually spell out the testing procedure to him. So another one who's a female, a little bit older, from another area of Swaziland. This one didn't really finish high school. She's a bit shy, very strong religious values and Christian values, not active on social media at all. We want her to learn how to live with HIV and support groups, and empower her to actually be able to interact about her own status. She is HIV positive. And then we've got another female. He's in university, another male in university, third year. He's married. He's open about polygamy, which is a practice very common in Swaziland, where a man can have more than one wife. He's open about it, so we try to address this part, although very sensitive in my culture, because as you know, the head of state, the king, His Majesty in Swaziland, has got more than one wives, more than 10 wives for that matter. So polygamy is a cultural activity, it's a cultural phenomenon that we respect a lot as Swazis. So we try to address this issue in the game. So we're going to debunk some myths that they have about HIV, dirty or not dirty. You know, in Swaziland, people think, not in Swaziland, but generally, people may feel that because you're HIV, then you are dirty. And if you don't have HIV, then you are clean. So we try in the game to really make people be aware that it's not a matter of dirty or not. So this is the segmentation of our population in the game. So how people can access the game, very easy. In just a few clicks, you can have access to the game. They just go to our website. If you click Get Game, you have a screen. You can either access it online or go to a shop near you, or get it from Google Play Store. And then before you can continue the game, you are screened for eligibility. So we've got a few questions that actually screen people whether or not they're eligible to take part in the game. Basically, we look at age, because our age is 18 to 29 years old. So if you are not eligible, we've got a nice message that tells you that, okay, you're not eligible for the survey, but you can still download the game. Later on, you can play the game when the research phase of the game is over. So we don't leave you apart. And this part here is the survey that we use to evaluate the game. So the evaluation is not built inside the game. People actually have to go out of the game to take the survey, which is a bit tricky, but we try to incentivize people to actually do it by making it easy to reach this page of the game. So we'll use a lot of WhatsApp. When people register, they'll give us their number, so we'll follow people through WhatsApp, and they can also share the survey questionnaire amongst only eligible people to take part in the survey. So that's it. And then last time I showed you this few slides, and I just want to remind you before we sit down and look at the game itself, that there are basically three parts of the game. The first one is online chats. So the player chats with a character in the game. It is story intense. So we tried to reach a balance here because we didn't want the game to be too much education. Like I told you before, that when I went to one of the conferences, I could tell that the person who designed this game is a health oriented person, or the person who designed this particular game is a programmer based person, because of how the game played. So in this game we tried to reach the balance. So the game is interactive, story based, more than it is education, or we try to find a balance. So when you read through the text, you cannot obviously pick that this is the education part, because we want to immerse the player in the story, so they actually follow a story through without having HIV being pushed in their face. So this is the online chat of the game. And then the second part of the game is that players who chat in the game decide to meet in a virtual environment, a place called meetups. These are made up of different clubs, lounges in Swaziland, or cafes in Swaziland. We made up names. But basically what happens in those places we try to represent in the game. So it puts the player looking in the role of young adult looking for love in Swaziland. They meet players, they decide if they like them or not, then they advance the story. And then there's part about feedback. So the feedback is in very bits and pieces of the game. Not too much, not too little, but we think it will be enough to induce the kind of change we expect from the players. So a more direct feedback is when the doctor answers a question to someone who came to the clinic. They address issues of where to get tested, how the test is done, how long it takes the test, because some people feel that it's painful to get your blood drawn, and they need like a lot of meals to test. But she addresses this kind of questions, and we try to make a health worker not so fearful. So we try to make the health worker in the game, the medical practitioner in the game, also a social being. So she also takes part in the social scenes of the game. So we try to remove the wall between the health professional and people. And then we also try to enforce things like confidentiality. That even though the person will go to meet with you in a lounge or interact with you in a social area, they remain upholding the principle of confidentiality. Okay, there's another part of the game. It's a networking site. So players can see someone's comment in the newsfeed part of the game, but I won't show that too much today. Okay, so the love interest or connections look like this. And then you can explore someone's character, but we'll look at it in detail. I already mentioned that we based most of this on our previous paper. So these are some of the scenes in the game. So they progress from chatting online to choosing a place where they want to meet physically, while physically still in the game. So during meetups, many things can happen. You can decide to choose actions that will either increase your risk of HIV or sort of mitigate your risk of getting HIV. You'll also have an opportunity to sympathize with some of the characters in the game. So our game is very text intense, but we tried to improve the aesthetics by making very nice sound related to each scene. So each scene has got its specific sound based on what happens there, like in a club or in a romantic environment, different sound clips made especially for the game. And then also we made like characters that people can, identify with. They're not so strange, but of course, if you show someone in Japan this, they cannot imagine what this person looks like. But if you show a Swazis this, they probably know someone who looks like this. So we try to make the person look as much as possible with, favorite characters of celebrities in Swaziland. Yeah. Kim Kardashian kind of thing. Yeah. So there are this point systems in the game. There's the YOLO points, and this is called intimacy points. We changed this to intimacy points. Unlike other games where the point system is central to the game, we made the point system not so intrusive. So you are not going to see this throughout the game. This just just gives you a feel of what's happening, but is not really meant to evaluate you. You've got high points, you've got low points, because actually the point of the game is to reach a balance than scoring high. So for example, the point system starts at 50, not at 0. And then this one starts at 70, not at 100 or at 0, the trust points. So it's a different way of thinking about point system that we felt was really necessary for this game. So like I mentioned, it's balancing the two sets of points. And this is the doctor who you can find at the clinic, but also in other places like the YOLO Lounge. So she likes to go to that place. So you don't only get feedback from a medical person, you also get feedback to respectable people in society, like the owner of this lounge. He's very active on HIV or health-related issues. So we try to make discussing HIV not only with health professionals, but a really social phenomenon that people need to engage in on a daily basis. Okay. So next, I'd like to actually show you the game. I've spoken a lot about the game, and actually we are very pleased. We received our accepted paper. It's nice to see it on journal format. So very, very happy about that. It's actually the protocol. Yeah, they actually allow us to publish the protocol of the game. We published it to gain feedback from experts in serious games. Yes, sure. So we wanted to see what experts thought about our game through exposing our protocol to a peer review process. It's easy to sit here and just think you're doing something great by yourself, but if you expose it to someone, then they're quick to point out some loopholes that you can address before the game actually starts. So that was great, and we're happy that it was accepted for publication. Okay, so now what's left is to actually see the game. I'm nervous about this part because it's the first time I've actually showed this game. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is that now the player goes to a clinic for some reason, then she speaks to the doctor. Then the doctor tells her a story about controlling the music. So the doctor says, imagine you're in a room. So okay, the question was that, how do you become safe? So, but what if you trust the person that you're having sex with? It's okay, right? So the doctor narrates a story where you're in a full house, a party, and then you want to change a song playing on the radio or on the speakers, but it's too far for you. So you have two choices. One choice is to stand up and go and change it yourself. Another choice is to tell a friend, please change the song and play this song. Because your friend is also far, she has to tell her, and she has to tell him, and he has to tell another person. So the doctor says that trusting anyone is not being in control of the music. So because you don't know the final song will be correct or not. You don't know. Because it's not about the person you trust, it's about the other people that she trusts to tell the story. So she says that giving other people your trust and having sex with them without a condom is like giving people the song and trusting that they'll play the right music. The best way to do is to stand up, trust yourself, protect yourself, stand up by yourself and go and change the music. So it's one of the highs of the game. So I'm sorry I didn't say that. Somehow it got lost.